This video introduces the ServiceNow features for creating change requests. This video is intended for ITIL users, the ones who typically create change requests. From time to time, your IT organization needs to make changes to the IT system to solve problems, or perform maintenance, or make upgrades. The ServiceNow system lets you track these changes from start to finish. Each change is started by creating a change request in the system. Let's look at an example. This is a pretty typical example, but bear in mind things may work a little differently at your company. For this example, we're logged on as Beth Anglin, an ITIL user. In our example, a few users have recently submitted incidents about issues with email. We've already created a problem identifying the root cause, errors in the recent email client upgrade. We've determined that rebooting the email server will fix the problem. Now we want to create a change request to reboot the server. We could create the request directly from the problem form. That's an easy way to do it since the system performs some of the steps for you. But instead, we're going to create the request from scratch to show all the steps. To create the change request, we'll go to Change, Create New, and choose an emergency change since it's a service outage. Here's the default form. Email is a business service. The configuration item is Iron Mail SD02, which we saw in the problem record. The loss of email is a critical problem. The risk of rebooting the server is low, and the impact is high since it'll restore email service for many users. We'll add a short description and a more detailed description. We'll assign the change to the software group and to Emil Anderson in particular. Here on the Planning tab, we'll add a justification and an implementation plan. Since the server isn't working now, the risk of rebooting is low. Since the reboot is not reversible, we don't have a backout plan. But in general, it's good to have a backout plan in case the change doesn't work or causes a new problem. And for the test plan, we'll send and receive test email. As for the schedule, we want to get this done by 5 p.m. today. Let's plan to start at 2 p.m. and finish at 3 p.m. We'll come back and record the actual start and end when they occur. By default, emergency changes go to the CAB approval group, so we can leave this checkbox clear. Finally, we'll submit the change, and here's our request. Now let's go back and look at a few more things. First, you'll notice that the system detected a conflict. Down here we see that the change conflicts with the maintenance schedule for the email server. Ordinarily, we'd only reboot the server during the maintenance window. But since this is an emergency change to resolve a service outage, we'll ignore the conflict and reboot the server outside the window. Next, the system supplied the email server as the affected CI. For impacted services, we'll refresh the list, and here are the services that'll be impacted by the change. In our example, the approvers for the request are determined by a workflow defined by the system administrator. And here's the workflow. The change request is currently awaiting the request for approval. Next, we'll enter the tasks for the change. The first task is rebooting the email server. The configuration item is Iron Mail SD02. The priority is critical, and the task is due today by 5 p.m. We'll assign the task to Emil Anderson and submit. And here's our new task. The second task is validating that email service has been restored. Like before, the configuration item is Iron Mail SD02. The priority is critical, and the task is due today by 5 p.m. We'll assign this task to Ethan Taylor and submit. There, that's it for our tasks. The Problems tab lists the problems associated with this change. Remember the problem we saw earlier, the reason for this change? We'll add that problem here. When this change is complete, this problem will be closed resolved in the system. The Incidents Pending Change tab lists the incidents associated with this change. Remember the incidents we saw before? We'll add them here. When the change is complete, these incidents will be resolved in the system. Finally, if the change causes any new incidents, we'll come back and enter them here. But we don't need to worry about that now. That's all the information we need to enter, so we'll save our updates. Now that we've filled in the information, we'll request approval. When we do that, the state changes to authorize, and the workflow shows that the request is awaiting approval. The system sends an email notification to each approver. When they approve the request, the state will change to approved. That's it. Our new change request is done. We'll see how to follow a change through to completion in the next video. For more information, please consult our product documentation, knowledge base, or podcast, or ask a question in the ServiceNow community.